We talking the New York Jets, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have my eye on some of the former players from Detroit. We get their head coach. We get a couple of assistant coaches. Maybe it's time to talk about a couple players. All right, stay tuned. Right after the intro, we talking which Lions could become New York Jets. Boy Green meets Wudi.
Can you guys help us get a Jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, right. Come on in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go!
J-E-T-S, Jets! Let's go! J-E-T-S, Jets! Let's go! There you go, Woody!
Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, the boy Green is known for having the intro, but Woody, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words, son.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there, baby.
Boy Green
meets Woody. Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy, James Wudi. We are Woody, rocking everywhere. And right here, right next to me is the boy who became king, Mr. Paul Eston Jr., Mr. Boy Green himself. How you doing, good sir?
It's great to be here on a Tuesday. It's Super Bowl week. You know, we're dreaming of the day. Hopefully that we're alive when the Jets are in the Super Bowl. So you know what? We're trying to get there, and the Jets aren't there this year. But we're trying to build a roster, help the Jets, give them the blueprint on what they should be doing, and that could include several former members or current members of the Detroit Lions, baby.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it. You know, our last regime with Robert Saleh brought in a lot of former 49ers pretty much every year of his tenure. It wasn't just year one.
Right.
Even just right now, Javon. Yeah, right. That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Right in that last year, we see Adam Gase dragging the carcass of Frank Gore just everywhere that he goes. All of his stops. This is something that is very common in the National Football League. Is coaches bringing their guys, and it doesn't have to be assistant coaches. We're talking players. Right. This episode is specifically about players. It's very common in this league.
There's no question about it. And again, there's a lot of Lions free agents. You mentioned how common it is. It happens everywhere. And interestingly, with AG, we're going to focus on Lions, but he had a lot of stops, Saints, and go all over the place. Maybe we could get some people from over there. Demario Davis, line one, please. If he's available, I will still take him back. I don't think he is. But in all seriousness, though, there's plenty of Lions. So without further ado, Woody, let's get into this. And now I'm going to go in order of how much money basically they were making last season from Spot Track. So that's how it orders it. That's how it puts it all together here. So whoever was making the most money last season, downward. So that's just the order we'll be going in of top Detroit Lions players that are set to be free agents. And whether or not I'm going to bring up names, and Woody, you may just tell me to pack rocks or bend over, and I'll show you where to shove that name. So you don't have to agree or disagree with all of them. We'll put the name out there. We'll both kind of go through some of these names. And the person that made the most money this past season, it's not particularly close, is Carlton Davis, the veteran cornerback who's 28 years of age. He is set to hit the open market, and where it applies, there is some market value projections on how much Spot Track believes this player is going to get on the open market. I'll share some of that too. For instance, Carlton Davis is expected to actually get paid a little bit less on his new contract. Spot Track projects he's going to sign a 3-year deal for $41 million at $13.8 million per season. A veteran corner. Obviously, the Jets are going to have a hole at corner with DJ Reed set to leave. You have any interest in Carlton Davis, the former Super Bowl champ?
I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty intriguing. It is, and like you said with DJ Reed, how nice would that be to just replace one veteran corner, boop, just put another veteran corner right in there across from Sauce and just keep on chugging along. If they do decide, like if I get the notification on my phone, I would be excited. For the price though, and what what we've believed we understood from what Darren Muji was trying to say is that we got good players in the building, right? We're trying to build them, make the most of them. And I'm just so nervous with this 2022 draft class. I'm trying to keep as many of them as I can.
Yeah.
So giving out, tens of millions of dollars. You really got to be careful of what positions we're investing in, because I know we're gonna probably need a tackle, right?
Yeah.
And then the defensive line. We don't know what's going to get addressed in free agency versus a draft, right? As a matter of fact, I've seen a mock draft. I can't. You probably know the name of the corner that has been mocked to us a couple times.
Oh, Will Johnson out of Michigan. Yeah.
There you go. So, that might just quell the need for a Carlton Davis and also be a cheaper alternative. So, I guess I said a whole lot of fence straddling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm cool with him. I'm cool with him. If he were a New York Jet, I think that's a really nice signing. But if they decide to go elsewhere and go Will Johnson, I think that would be pretty neat as well.
Yeah, I'll kind of go Aaron Rodgers with it. I'm open to everything attached to nothing. So with Carlton Davis, he's an intriguing name. Personally, my gut of what I would prefer to do, quite frankly, is go cheaper. I'd love to see Quantez Stiggers fight for a job. I wouldn't just give it to him on a silver platter. I would make him fight for it. There's another corner on this list we'll get to in a little bit that I'd love to add to the room. There's no question. So I'd probably go for cheaper competition. Carlton Davis is a really interesting player and again would fit, but we're already invested with Michael Carter II, slot corner. Sauce is going to get the bag eventually from the New York Jets. So I don't think I'm investing this level because this is a souped up DJ Reed contract. When we signed DJ Reed, that was a 3-year deal for $33 million. This is an uptick and not no shame anywhere. It's a natural uptick. The salary cap is increasing. So you got to pay a different price for players. And obviously Carlton Davis is much more proven at this current moment in time than DJ Reed was a couple of years ago. So you're going to pay that premium price. So same thing. If they did sign Carlton Davis, I'm like, what a horrible move. Jets, what are you doing? Although, like I said, we're talking about age here. This guy who is 28. So you're paying into those you're paying basically DJ Reed. You're paying a DJ Reed age-wise. So you're hoping that more good football is ahead for Carlton Davis. And sometimes you get risky once you enter this next stratosphere. And it wouldn't be crazy years. It'd be a 3-year deal. But that's why I'd probably lean. You get Quan. You obviously have Quantez coming back. I'd probably go draft. Again, if you want to go Will Johnson, top 10 pick, fine. But you could probably go day 2 or day 3, get another corner in that room, have them compete, and say, okay, 2 of our 3 corners are awesome, and the third we'll kind of see what happens. So that'd be another intriguing thing. The other thing we don't know is Aaron Glenn is a former corner. How much does he value corners in his scheme? That's another question we won't really know until he's sitting in the head honcho seat, but Carlton Davis, an interesting player. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just one thing. Well, it sounds like we kind of agree, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that we agree. Yeah.
Crazy in itself. But I will say, according to PFF, he is coming off of his highest rated year of his career.
Wow.
So we, I don't know if that means that now he's going to, go straight to his head. He wants more money.
Sure. Well, yeah.
But this is also his first year, right? So every other year he was a Buccaneer. Right, this is his first year with Aaron Glenn, and now boom, it's his highest rated year on PFF. He was in the last couple of years 65, 63. Boom, now he's 74.5. Maybe he wants to, because that's exactly why DJ Reed came. He was like, Saleh, I had great years with Saleh. Free agent. I'm trying to prove my worth. Maybe we can convince Carlton to do the same thing. Like, hey, Aaron Glenn, that success you just had with Aaron Glenn. This is a place to build on that, and now cash in, or have that quick contract so you can cash in when you're 30 after 3 straight solid years.
Now, you mentioned mock drafts before. A very common mock draft pick, I don't know if all Jet fans agree with this, has been pass rusher. Because you got Will McDonald, who's coming off the best year of his career. Jermaine, you're unsure of with the blown out Achilles. What's going to happen there? Quite frankly, there's going to be a lot of movement on the defensive line and still questions. Are the Jets running 3-4? Are they running 4-3? Steve Wilks has a history of both 3-4 and 4-3 in his background. It's been mainly 4-3, but there's both on his resume. And same thing for AG. There's both. So, what you run primarily will feed in the scheme and the players that you have fed in. So obviously that's a key there. But a popular pick has been edge rusher, a guy who obviously is uber talented, but there's been a lot of inconsistencies, is Marcus Davenport. He's a guy who was making a pretty penny last year, $6.5 million last year for the Detroit Lions. He is 28. Okay, he's in the same age range as Carlton Davis. He's an interesting guy, and Spot Track thinks it's just a one-year prove-it deal for $2.2 million. That is what he's projected to sign for. So an absolute dart throw. He's obviously freakishly talented, but it hasn't always shown that way on the field. Do you have any interest in roundhouse kicking the tires on one Marcus Davenport, former first-round pick?
I'm going to say two things at once. One, I know it's technically a need with Jermaine being a question mark, but
yeah, right. That's what people say.
I cannot. I hope these New York Jets do not draft the edge rusher in the first round. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the first round edge rusher. We did it a couple of times. I think we got some guys. Quinnen's down there. If they said first round defensive tackle, but again, of course, like you said brilliantly, actually, feeding into the scheme, whether it's a 4-3, 3-4. Okay, we do need a solid defensive line. So, I mean, I just, with everything that's happening on the offensive side, especially if Rodgers doesn't come back, I would like to see something there because Rodgers and Devontae, that means probably only have Garrett, probably won't have Lazard. So who we got? We got Garrett. I can't even think. Is it Brownlee? No, it's not Brownlee. Garrett.
Malachi Corley, baby.
Well, wouldn't he be in the slot though? Like,
oh, I didn't hear what you meant. Like, where on the field? Oh, I see.
But yeah, so on your two outside, so it's rough sledding. So I guess my whole point in bringing that up was that I would really like that first round pick to be on the offensive side. With that being said, though, defense, I do understand the game is won in the trenches. I am sure, as a former player, Aaron Glenn understands that as well. I know he himself was a DB, but he is a very brilliant man. So, roundhouse kicking the tires on Marcus Davenport for $2.2 million? Man, I think I would. Now, here's the thing, though. Like you said, wildly inconsistent. The exact opposite of Carlton Davis. He is coming off his career worst year, according to PFF. Which is why, right? Going from $6 million to now a 1 year prove it. That makes complete sense. But if there's anybody, who can, just squeeze the, last, bit of toothpaste from the tube there, I feel like hopefully Aaron Glenn can do it. He's seen what he can do. He's been in the building with him. I would say for that price, if you can undercut that a little bit, the vet minimum, right? If you can get him for a vet minimum, I mean, why not? Get another body in there, somebody who has played at a high level, even though he's currently not.
Hey, by the way, this is a double dip of AG. So obviously the Lions, the New Orleans Saints were the ones that traded up for Marcus Davenport back in the day in the draft. Everyone thought they're moving up for Lamar Jackson. They said, oh, snap. Oh, wait, Marcus Davenport. And Davenport, he's had years. His best year was in 2021 when he had 9 sacks with the Saints. And then, again, he had some fun years the first 2 years, 4.5, 6. And then he has a 1.5, 2020. 9 sacks. And then over the last 3 years, half a sack, 2 sacks, half a sack. It just, again, the production has been wildly inconsistent. But obviously, sacks are not the only number that you judge a pass rusher on, but some of the raw numbers there for him. So there's a double dip of intrigue potentially for the Jets to, again, kick the tires on Marcus Davenport. He's a big athletic freak, a former UTSA guy. Again, there's a lot of intrigue here. Of course, I'm 100% investigating this if I'm the New York Jets. Again, we will see, again, another part of it that we're so accustomed to with Saleh, Douglas, and everybody is the investment of defensive linemen, keeping 10 or 11 on the 53. There's going to be so many new things, and I'm going super deep from that standpoint of roster construction, but how many guys you're keeping in each positional group, I think that's another part of it. Obviously, we're going to get into a little bit more as well. So Marcus Davenport, interesting guy. I would 100% at that price. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Ooh, that's a price I'm sort of looking at here. Now, I'm going to throw this name out there, but I don't know how realistic this is, to be honest with you, because the Jets starting guards are accounted for. But Kevin Zeitler, he is a veteran of veterans. Jet fans know him very well because they've been drooling about this guy for a million years. Every time he has become available, the Jets obviously have gone in different directions. He's a much older guy. Kevin Zeitler is 34, about to be 35, so he's up there. He made $6 million bucks last year, and when you look at the market value from Spot Track of his expected market price, he's expected to get a 1-year deal for $9.2 million. So he's expected to get some rich money, and that ain't backup money. So, like I said, I don't know if this one's a fit here necessarily. Jets have their starting guards in place. Woody.
Yeah, Elijah Verigard. If this deal was made last year, I would be hyped, more hyped than I was when I heard the actual name of John Simpson. I've since rescinded my Simpson disrespect. I mean, not to say that he's fantastic, but I do feel good, right, with the interior offensive line, and they are younger, right? So I'm cool with Kevin Zeitler, staying where he's at. Or I guess he's not because he's a free agent, so going somewhere else. But let me, because this show, Boy Green Meets Wudi, is a show of the people, right?
Sure.
And there's literally just about one name that the people are saying in these comments, and I would love for both of us actually to address. I won't lie, if Hendon Hooker was a New York Jet, I would be hyped.
Ooh.
I would be hyped. I wanted him, that draft year, right? Like, maybe we could take a flyer on a QB. That didn't happen. But I really think that this is rather unlikely. I think they drafted Hooker as an insurance plan. I was like, hey, maybe Jared Goff is not that guy. And with Jared Goff, throwing interceptions in bunches, like literal bunches of interceptions. 4 right there in the NFC. What was that, wild card? No, division.
Yeah.
And then 5 right there against the Texans that night. I think that they are actually more likely to give him the reins, not this year, but I think they would be more likely to do that than to ship him away and have Jared Goff be the unquestioned signal caller. So I don't think this is likely, but if they are answering calls, then I think the Jets should pick up the phone. I don't know what the package would look like, right? I feel like it would kind of be crazy to give up, a first round pick for somebody who's never played, regular season football. But I think he is a good quarterback, a talented quarterback who's been doing exactly what you want, sitting behind a very high-powered offense, learning from Ben Johnson, seeing what Goff is doing. I think he has been raised the right way. So wherever he ends up starting, I think he's going to be a fantastic player.
Here's my thing on Hendon Hooker. I agree. Coming out of the draft, I liked him at Tennessee. Video game numbers. He gets hurt, of course, and that affects everything for how he was perceived. But here's the thing that gives me a little bit of pause, because I'll combine the other name that's on this list. Former Jets legend Teddy Bridgewater set to be a free agent. I asked the Lions, what do they think of Hendon Hooker? Well, let's go through the tail of the tape, right? So Jared Goff gets his bell fucking rung against the gosh darn Washington Commanders. Frankie Louvu, ex-Jet, murdered Jared Goff on the field, and his lifeless carcass went crashing down to the canvas. And, they needed another quarterback to step in because that was a pick 6. So, Jared Goff wasn't ready to go. They went to former high school football coach Teddy Bridgewater. They didn't go to Hendon Hooker. Bridgewater been there just a couple of weeks. They said, hey, Teddy, slap on the ass, get in there. And they didn't go to Hendon Hooker. So Hendon Hooker, again, is cryogenically frozen. What is he? We have no idea. I guess you just go back to your draft profiles and how you felt about him coming out of the class. And he's been around really smart people. You mentioned Ben Johnson and Tanner Engstrand and other Lions people. So he's just a few years into the rookie deal, but we don't really know what he is. Obviously, he was a non-first round pick, so he's only on a 4-year standard contract. So if my math is math in here, I think he has 2 years left on his rookie deal, but I'll make sure I confirm that here just right now. He's 27. He was an older prospect already coming in. Let's see. So, yeah, there's 2023. So 3 and 4 through. So he's got 2 more years left on his deal. He was a 3rd-round pick, the 68th overall pick in that class. So still 2 years left on that rookie contract. So if they're interested in moving him, and the reason why I would say they are is they didn't trust him in that moment. As soon as Teddy Bridgewater said, yeah, I'll leave my high school career after getting a state championship, and you immediately surge over Hendon Hooker, that kind of made me go, that's weird. Like, if you wanted Teddy just in the room and give a tip of the cap because, Teddy's meant so much to the Lions and all this other stuff, that'd be one thing. That he just superseded Hendon Hooker in no time was like, whoa, where did that come from? So, and Hendon's been healthy now, in theory, outside of the recovery. So that part was a little weird to me. So in theory, I like the move. It'd be a late round pick. It'd be like nothing to get Hendon Hooker to acquire because he's proven nothing. He's only been hurt and now he's available. So maybe there's a 6th round pick or something, or a 5th round pick. I'm sure they would love the same value, but you wouldn't be getting it for an older player who was originally a late 3rd round pick. So that one for me just kind of throws me up. And why did the Lions pass on him? I guess you could have the same questions. Why did the Lions not give the job to Tanner Engstrand? It looked like he was going to be the guy at OC too. But I wouldn't be mad at it if we did it. But I have concerns about why the Lions know more about him than anybody else, and they passed on him themselves. That to me is a little curious.
Yeah, that's a fair point. June himself, who brought up the question, also mentioned that as well.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't even see that, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think that with Teddy, I mean, it's not like they just picked up a random, like Teddy was there, like he was
right in the past, correct?
Yeah,
and stuff, right?
With that same coaching staff, like so I don't think it's the same as if they called up like Eli Manning. It was like, hey, like, can you come like learn this playbook from scratch? But yeah, I definitely, I guess, yeah, if they felt like he was, the next guy or the guy in the wings, they probably could have, but I don't know. That's a super high pressure situation to make your NFL debut, is in the middle of a playoff game where your boy just got picks, like you just said, like how you laid it out. That's a middle of the play. That's a super high, just high pressure situation. Maybe they were protecting him from that. It's different if that happens in the regular season than that happening do or die playoffs to this kid who's never done it before. I think he could be Patrick Mahomes, and that's still like a very unsettling situation. That could just be them just going with the steady hand, the calm hand of Teddy Bridgewater, to balance out the ship.
All right. Well, quick follow-up then. Teddy Bridgewater, he is a straight-up free agent. Hendon Hooker, you'd have to trade for. Like I said, he's under contract for 2 more years. Former Jet. The Jets could be, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, you would need competition for Tyrod Taylor. I would hope that they don't just serve it to him on a silver platter, him versus Jordan Travis roll out. Like, I would hope that a third person's added to that mix. Teddy Bridgewater, in theory, would make a lot of sense. Would you have any interest in Teddy Two Gloves?
Damn, after I just said steady hand. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be pretty upset if they saw Teddy.
Upset. Oof. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The upside isn't there. Like, Hooker, that is somebody who, the upside potentially being somebody to, have the reins. I think, yes. I think no matter what happens, I don't even know if Teddy's ceiling is higher than Tyrod's.
Wow.
Oof. So you would just be getting, I don't know, you would be just getting like an immobile
high school football coach.
Yeah, he's also injury prone, like Tyrod. We knocked him out the last time he was starting a game.
Gardner blitz, safety in the end zone against the Dolphins. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely good on Teddy. Okay. But I do agree that if Aaron is not the option, definitely need to bring in somebody to compete with Tyrod. 100% agree with that. But Teddy, nah.
Punt. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Again, we're watching. You guys are watching Boy Green Meets Wudi, baby. We got 300 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. Hit subscribe, baby. We're doing all kinds of giveaways for subscribers, which is free to do, and also for the people that buy memberships, baby. We're less than 100. I think that's how far we are away from getting to 7,500 subscribers. So keep them coming, baby. And we'll be giving away a signed piece of New York Jets memorabilia autographed by 2 former New York Jets first-round picks. That'll go to 1 lucky subscriber to the channel, so keep those coming. Let's throw another name out there, and I wrote a piece about this. This is in the YouTube description down below. I think one of the big reasons why the Jets failed this past season was the destruction of the defensive line. To me, it was a rotting part of the body that the Jets did not address, and then it spread to the rest of the team. And it's Quinnen Williams and everybody else. Aaron Glenn, one of his top priorities, should be finding a Robin to Quinnen Williams Batman. That should be a massively important thing. And there's a lot of different ways you can skin that cat, but one name that could make a lot of sense is Levi Onwuzurike. He is of the Detroit Lions, a veteran defensive tackle. He is available. He just completed his rookie contract, so you kind of like it if you're going to take a risk on a guy. Take the guy who's coming off the rookie deal. He's about to turn 27. He's projected to get quite a raise coming off this season. He only made $2 million this past season. PFF's numbers have him making $8+ million per year on a 2-year deal. So he's an interesting guy. I think this is a massively important piece of the puzzle for the Jets. A lot of people have said, oh, Mason Graham. What if he's not there at 7? Then what? Oh, geez, I'm not so sure. Yeah, Mason Graham makes a lot of sense from a draft perspective. But, again, Levi Onwuzurike, he is a guy that's super talented. He obviously has the direct connection to AG. I think he'd make a lot of sense. And he doesn't have a lot of raw pass rush numbers of sacks. I think he only has like 3.5, 4.5 sacks in his career, but he is in the top 10 and top 15 in pass rush win rate from his defensive tackle position. So he's a guy that you've seen it. The analytical nerds are back and like, oh, we like this guy. He is a guy that might give you a little bit of chutzpah. So give me some Levi Onwuzurike. Again, it's going to be a little rich at like a 7 to 8 million per year evaluation, but that's something I'm willing to spend on because I think that's a big issue with this Jets team on the interior defensive line.
It is no argument, absolutely zero argument that the Jets interior defensive line has needed help for a little bit of time. If anybody tries to argue against that point, just let them be. There's no reasoning to somebody who does not see that. So I am with it. I'm obviously, if Mason Graham is available, that is the ideal situation. You get 2 first-round studs in Quinnen and Mason, together. And then Will on the side, Jermaine, like that would just get me that would get me pretty excited to see. But like you just said, Boy Green, you can't put all your eggs in that basket. If he's not there, then what happens? So Levi, I feel like you were giving him a little bit more praise than he deserves. I wouldn't say. Well, I mean, you were saying like, super talented.
Super talented. Yeah, he was the 41st overall pick of the draft a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's solid. He was a 2nd-round pick. That's cool. That's good. He's had a solid career thus far. Yeah. I think the big plus is Aaron Glenn, right? The only DC he's known is over here. Now follow him over there. I think that's a really big plus. And for me, I don't really care about his sacks. Like, we're talking about interior defensive line. We're talking about, stopping the run, which has been an issue pretty much the entire Saleh era. We don't talk about it too much because they were just getting a boatload of sacks and turnovers, but they've never really been able to stop the run. Besides when our boy, who was it, Al Woods was there for like until he got hurt. So looking at that type of information right now, nothing really jumps off the page. He's not elite at either, but of course, we hope he's an ascending player. I actually hate signing people directly after their rookie deals because that's when they're looking for the most money. Like it's like, oh, okay, I've been getting paid this. Now I'm officially an NFL player. Like this is where I'm cashing in. But remember what I said before. With the limited money that we have, right, you really got to think about the position, like where we're spending it, and defensive tackle has to be at the top of the list. If it's defensive or offensive tackle, one of those is at the top of the list because this game is won in the trenches.
So the next name I'm going to bring up, I guess Woody's going to hate. He's coming off his rookie deal too, and Woody hates those kind of people. But this is a personal favorite here. I cover Syracuse football around here, and here's the name. If you don't want to go Carlton Davis, that's rich, and for good reason. Carlton Davis is a really good player. I'd take a dart throw on Ifitu Melifonwu, former Syracuse corner. He's been with the Lions. He's 6'3", 210 pounds, an incredibly lanky guy. His brother, Obi Melifonwu, blew up the NFL Combine when he came out a bunch of years ago out of UConn and was an athletic specimen and an athletic freak. He's a guy to take a dart throw on for whether it's a 1-year deal or I'd try to get him for a 2-year deal for dirt cheap money. And if he's awesome as I project him to be in 2025, let him battle it out with Quantes for that other starting quarter spot. He's an AG disciple, being with AG his career there in Detroit. He's super talented. Not a lot of people know a lot about him. He's versatile, has played all over the secondary. He's for sure the guy that really, out of all these names, and that probably sounds weird to say because of, again, the lack of gravitas with the name, but I'm not chasing names here. I'm just chasing the player that I think is this, and AG can make them this. And that's why I have really high expectations for Ifitu Melifonwu, and he's going to cost you nothing coming off of his rookie deal as a former third-round pick. So I have my eyes set on Ifitu as one of the top guys I'd be targeting of all the Detroit Lions free agents just based on his history.
What is the spot track saying for the contract?
So not everyone has a spot track prognostication. Unfortunately, but he's coming off a year where he made $1.1 million. So take that for what you will. And obviously, he wasn't a full-time starting quarter his entire career with Detroit. So there's some speculation for numbers.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the old regime. I feel like this is a guy that would be perfect for the old regime that was so good at turning just defensive backs into quality players, right? Moving this guy there, moving that guy there, right? You may forget that MC2 was a safety. Now, all of a sudden, he's one of the best slot corners in football. Jamie Sherwood was a safety. Now, all of a sudden, he's leading the team in tackles, almost led or maybe he did lead the league. I can't remember what happened in that last game, if he still held on to the lead in tackles. But that's, that old regime taking safeties and, taking DBs and, moving them all around. I'm not sure what will happen with this regime and their ability to do that. But this seems like a key candidate to get moved around as he tries to find his natural position in the NFL, because some places, have him as a safety. He's taken quite a few snaps as a safety, quite a few snaps as a corner. Obviously, like you said, very nice test scores, right, in terms of, physical attributes. So definitely an intriguing option and one that will not cost a pretty penny. Yeah. So sign me up for the cheap, right? The cheap people with high ceilings. Let's get it.
And to your point, again, if they want to keep him at safety primarily or go to corner, I'm fine with whatever AG thinks. Obviously, he's the genius in all this. He's the former corner, so he'd be able to tell us. AG, as he progressed through his career, a lot of people may not know this. This was written in the Zach Rosenblatt story. He started off as a star corner and then went to CB2 and then played some nickel. So as his career changed, he played all kinds of different positions in the secondary. So he would know better than anybody, but I'd be fascinated to see where AG and kind of where he ends up putting him from that perspective. This one's just random. Dan Skipper, the backup offensive lineman that is involved in eligible plays on offense as a potential tight end. So you want to get some more of that. Who is our Connor McDermott? Who is our guy that was catching passes from the back? So maybe we get a nice reserve offensive lineman that every once in a while could be a jumbo tight end as long as he reports eligible. I know that's a tender topic for Lions fans.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I think this year we had Solomon Thomas play literally called.
Yeah.
For Solly Thomas, the defense, not even offense. Oh my God, the defensive tackle out here running a route. For the play was called for him. So Dan Skipper, I actually looked. That was when we started this. That was actually the first name that stuck out to me.
Wow.
And yeah, I would say, because I'm looking for a tackle. Definitely not starting tackle, but solid depth. I would say for sure. And of course, depending on what Tanner does with this offense, right, maybe can help, some of the other guys get up to speed. I think, he's still not even like, when we were talking about Kevin Zeitler, right, he's, almost closer to 40 than 30. Dan Skipper is 30, right? He's exactly 30. So still got some years left. So I think that's, and of course, the offensive line, we've had so many offensive line injuries that depth matters. You might think, oh, we're wasting our time talking about, a backup tackle. No, because if you have watched the Jets play the last 4 years, you know that these injuries come in waves, come in bunches, just like Jared Goff interceptions. So, yeah, I would be all for Dan Skipper. Of course, not breaking the bank for a backup tackle, but I think he's somebody who could provide good snaps and, the occasional trick play from time to time isn't bad.
Okay. You never know. One random name. So yeah, Dan Skipper. They want to bring him in, sure. If they don't, I don't care. But he was just kind of a fun name to put out there. But one thing I wanted to put out there as another wide receiver to add to the room, because we're talking about Devontae and Garrett Wilson. We need like a solid wide receiver 3. And I'm not saying just like slot guy. I'm just saying in general, just a solid wide receiver. And that's what Tim Patrick is to me, man. Obviously, he has got, and for those who don't know his story, he went through the injury bug. And this is like the most unlucky bastard on the planet. He blew out his ACL. He blew out his Achilles. And this happened in back-to-back seasons in 2022 and 2023. And people were like, oh boy, is this a guy ever going to stay healthy? And look what he did with Detroit this year as a role player. He's a big-ass dude. He's 6'4", 212 pounds. Again, the numbers aren't going to wow you, but he had 33 catches, 394 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns, average 11.9 yards per catch. Again, in that Lions offense, there's a lot of mouths to feed with Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sun God, and Sam Laporta, and Jahmyr Gibbs, and David Montgomery. There's a million dudes, but he was just all reliable. He's a super fun guy. He won't cost a whole heck of a lot. Obviously, there's the AG connection. I would love the Jets to just kick the tires on a guy like Tim Patrick, who obviously finally had this healthy year this year. That part of it can do a lot too. Scott Foster with a YouTube super chat here on the channel, which we appreciate. He's been a member for 3 months. All right. Wow. He said we need a receiver that can stretch the field. He's not quite Jameson Williams from that perspective. We may have to dig in other pots for that one. But I think Tim Patrick's old TP would be pretty solid for the Jets.
Yeah, I'm probably good on Tim Patrick.
Oh, how dare you?
Yeah, I can't believe you read that stat line. Like you read each stat as if that was anything impressive.
Solid.
And then,
solid.
Then you immediately trying to excuse there was this player. Tim Patrick, definitely very unfortunate what's happened. The injuries. That stinks. He's actually never been great. And then he had these injuries, and now he's not even what he once was. And he's also 31. He'll be turning 32 during this season. Not particularly, fast or strong. He is a big dude, but not, a particularly strong route runner. I am completely good on Tim Patrick.
You know, Wudi, when I look at your Twitter profile, it says like wrestling connoisseur, wrestling fan, and you just brought up his size and Mr. Wrestling Fan, and you can't teach that. You can't teach that for being 6'4", baby.
Yeah, I mean, Alan Lazard 6'5", so I don't know what to tell you there. Height is height. People have height. People have weight. But yeah, Tim Patrick. Yeah, there would be absolutely no needle moved whatsoever by Tim Patrick being a Jet. It's just an unnecessary move.
Okay, well, Zariah has joined us here on the show. Looks like she's colored her hair now. I'm not sure if that's a professional job there. I'm not sure if she got into something she wasn't supposed to, but we'll discuss that after the show, I suppose. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, very nice. All right. Is there any other players here, Woody, that you wanted to discuss? Any other players ring your bell here?
I don't think so. I mean, the Lions, I do think they have tremendous players, right? They have one of the best rosters in football. But I think we talked about a lot of them. Maybe Michael Badgley. I mean, when we look at looking at kickers, as you've already known, the Jets, we have 5 kickers maybe this year. I don't know if we settled on one. Maybe Carlson was the last one. I don't know if he's the best one. Greg, I'm pretty sure is still under contract.
He is. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe Michael Badgley. This is somebody who has been a very great, or not great, but a very successful kicker for the Chargers. Right now, he's in Detroit. He actually got hurt, which is why he did not finish out the year for them. So maybe, if he has a full recovery, that's somebody worth taking a look at, to help, because the kicking situation in New York definitely was not good.
Yeah, less than ideal, Woody. Less than ideal. But there it is. Again, even a trade option with Hendon Hooker. So thanks for the fans for interacting there. But there's a list of Lions free agents that could be making the jump over to the Jets. Obviously, trades are always something to keep an eye out for as well. That could happen as we get through roster cut downs, and maybe even well before then if there's the right fit somewhere. Which will be sort of intriguing. So, Woody, a great show. I'm looking forward to Thursday, a third-party Thursday. We'll see what we're doing for Super Bowl week. Anything special there? It should be a good time, though. But another fun show in the books, my friend.
Yes. As always, the People's Show. So keep on, engaging with us, talking to us. I'll say one thing, Calvin Ridley. I think we were both, Boy Green and I were both big on Calvin Ridley that free agent year. I have no idea how Boy Green feels about him 2 years removed, or is it 1 year removed? I think it's 2 years. I think it's
1 year. It was just this past year. Yeah.
Was it this past year?
Deal for the Titans. 100%. This was his first year.
So just wow. Okay, just 12 months later. Me personally, I don't think I would bring him. I feel like bringing him in as wide receiver 3 is crazy. Like,
to me, I don't think he's going to be available. I mean, the coaching staff's the same. They're not going to cut him. Yeah. He just got like record-breaking money.
Yeah, and they lost DeAndre. Sorry, they lost DeAndre.
Correct.
Right, yeah, record-breaking. Yeah.
So I don't really envision that, but I like Calvin. Hey, my fantasy draft, I was trying to do everything I could to get Calvin because I thought he was a really, really exceptional player that's obviously had a very weird NFL journey. But, yeah, unfortunately for whoever said that, I don't believe he's going to be available. But, hey, surprise happen all the time. Cooper Kupp, Myles Garrett. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, absolutely. We will see what happens. And, hopefully this team can start loving us the way that we love them.
We can only hope. God bless everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. with Nick Faria, our Jets reporter. I'm sure there's a lot to be happening there on the program. And Boy Green Meets Woody will return for a third-party Thursday on Thursday at 3 o'clock, which should be a lot of fun, too. Again, 300-plus people in the room. God bless. Thank you so much. Like the video, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Take care, everybody.